say, when I first started teaching this poem, I found it really confusing. I thought, is it literally about a room? Is it some sort of natural disaster or earthquake? But then it was only through sort of reading it more closely and looking at the language that I began to realise, well, no, it's not a room. The room stands for something else, and it stands for her and something that's happening to her. So, I mean, I wonder, what do we think it is that's happening?
I totally agree with you. At first I thought it was a room, and she was trapped in this room. But then as you read more into it, there's a lot of onomatopoeia, like cracking, like crash. So she wants to have a voice. So maybe part of the culture, she's got an Indian culture, where she's trying to break out from that Indian culture, and she feels trapped by her culture. And possibly this is her way of saying that she is portrayed, a metaphor as a room. She portrays herself as a metaphor for this room, where she wants to break out and be free and have a voice, where because the culture's so sort of closed in, that she can't express herself.
So almost totally opposite to Presents from Miles in Pakistan, Search for My Tongue, where, and Hurricane hits England, where you know, they feel that they have no sense of culture. Here, it's almost trapping her.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, I mean, this room's obviously sort of a metaphor for herself feeling more comfortable or better about the fact she's freeing up from her culture. I think it fits in quite well with Love After Love, the same kind of idea of feeling better and things getting better and things improving.
Self-realisation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the end bit as well, where it shows that she's come out of the room, and it's a celebration where she's clapping at the end, and that entrapment, now we see that freedom where she can express herself, where before her culture closed her in. And it's a positive take on that, like with Love After Love as well, where the character in that poem feels that they can express themselves, and there's a change in the poem, for both fit well together. Well, in this poem, it's clearly, now that we've discussed it, where this poet is referring to herself as a metaphor for this room, and basically she feels that she can break away from this room, and she uses a lot of onomatopoeia to show that she's breaking out. She wants to make a noise, where before she couldn't make any noise. For example, like cracking, crash, clang, clapping, a lot of expressive language is used to show that freedom.
And I think that's reinforced some of the alliteration in there as well. So, you know, crash through clouds, you know, that really sort of energetic description there, and then you've got the other sort of alliterative phrases within the poem, so it reinforces that, you know, sense of excitement or difference.
Yeah, I think that's in first person as well is quite important. I mean, it shows again it's about self-reflection and evolving as a person. She's, you know, really thinking and thought about this experience, what's happening to her.
Like a lot of the poems in the collection,
yeah,
they're all, you know, a number of them are in first person, you know, unrelated incidents, half-past, they all feel passionately about something. It really comes through quite strongly.
Yeah, well, this one obviously feels passionate about a culture, but like we said earlier, well, before, the questioning of a culture, this person is questioning a culture, but she wants to break away from it.
And I mean, there's sort of the personification of these things coming to life, and you know, the chairs rising up and the bed. I mean, it's not literally beds and chairs and pots and pans, but these are all very everyday things, aren't they? They're the stuff that fills our lives, the ordinary stuff. And yet these are the things that suddenly breaking free and coming to life. So again, it's just like her.
Yeah, I suppose it's that mundanity of a life, where she just feels that maybe she's not got anywhere in her life, and this is why she wants to break free and get away from being trapped from this normal, everyday lifestyle that she has.
And I think, you know, there's lots of verbs as well. I mean, what the breaking, cracking, rising.
That sound effects on the onomatopoeias in there, yeah. Really make it quite interesting.
Well, it's all about noise, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where in an Indian culture, usually it's the male who's the dominant and the wife is more sort of submissive and doesn't have a voice. So in this poem, where she couldn't have it in a male environment, in this poem she's able to express herself.
I mean, some brilliant words as well. Celebration, excitement really stand out. These are not the nightmares and the dark corners that she was talking about before. Get a real sense of the transformation in her.
Yeah, and also you can see that she's excited, and also it's away from this sort of life where she can't express herself. She wants to get away from all this depression, really, of a culture that's holding her down and suppressing her.
I think the structure, I'll start with the last line being on its own a one-line stanza, really emphasising how happy she is now and how her moods change from the beginning of the poem when it's talking about darkness and beds and nightmares. By the end, the changes happen and she's much more happier, and that last line I think really emphasises the change.
Like Hurricane Hits England, you know, that last line, the earth is the earth is the earth, emphasises the change and sort of the realisation. I mean, I think there's an interesting movement in the poem from the darkness and the nightmares through to the, you know, the open air and the walls collapsing and her being outside. So in that sense, it's like Hurricane Hits England as well. There's a movement from darkness to confusion and doubt through to joy and realisation and confidence.
Also as well, enjambment is used to show that it's building up pace, to show that gradually getting to the end result of this celebration at the very end. And we're sort of building up, as we read it, because there's hardly any punctuation in it, you can see that build up. So she sort of carries us through this enjoyment at the end that she's escaped from this entrapment that has held her back.
So it's like in Presents from Mayans in Pakistan, the enjambment there highlights the words such as I longed for denim and cordial in line 20. So again, that enjambment highlighting those really important words in the poem.
I really enjoy this poem because it just shows that you can have your own personal lives. You can't let life hold you back, and also your culture hold you back, and it clearly shows this. Through Imtiaz Dharker's poem, where she can escape from this entrapment.
So it's a poem about aspiration, wanting more for yourself.
And doing something about it as well, rather than just letting things remain as they are. She's going to do something and make sure that her life is going to be the way she wants it to be.
I mean, I have to admit that when I first started teaching this one, I absolutely hated it because I didn't have a clue. But once I'd realised that it's all a metaphor and it's all about, you know, her, then it suddenly had this sort of epiphany or breakthrough, and it's like the epiphany she has in the poem, this sudden realisation that it is possible to break free, and it is possible to, you know, aspire to something better.
Well, again, like you two said, I think the main thing for me is this idea of, you know, you don't have to, if you're not happy with what you've got, you don't have to settle for that. You can make changes and make yourself happier. It's very much down to you, really.
And a really important message, I think, for all of us, especially when you're young.